going on, all you wild Batman impersonators? Your two favorite critics are back here for Cinephellas. I'm Logan Myers, my good mate over there.
And I'm Stephen Grant.
Stephen Graham? Is that you?
You can't have a revolution if the music isn't right, boys. Feel me?
Wrong set. And of course, we're talking about Stephen Grant and Uncle Oscar Isaac, one of my favorite actors in Hollywood, in the brand new Marvel show, Moon Knight, in the first episode. So the setup of the show, we do have Stephen Grant, the character played by Oscar Isaac. He works at a museum. He's a gift shop employee. He's quirky. He has a really thick British accent for some odd reason. He's in London, but Oscar trying to pull off an English accent was pretty comedic. And he's got himself into a bit of mischief. He has a sleep disorder. He kind of ties himself down at night so he doesn't wander London and get into trouble. And basically, that's pretty much the setup of the first episode, introducing this character at this museum. He loves Egypt and pyramids and Egyptian mythology and all that fun stuff. So he's a big geek.
Character that I don't know much about, haven't really heard of, before previously. It's an all new character for me into this Marvel world. So it's interesting for me to see, a new hero kind of evolve over these 6 episodes that we'll get some new characters and freshen things up a bit. This is the first series from Disney Plus with an all new Marvel character that hasn't been introduced before, as well as the villains. So very intriguing and interesting. And you're right, it sets up Stephen Grant here, played by Oscar Isaac. Yeah, you're right about the voice. It threw me off too. I guess he's wanted to try something different, and he doesn't sound too authentic to me, but hey, he took a swing. Anyways, but yeah, you were mentioning he has this disorder. It's actually a dissociative identity disorder, which basically he suffers from this, where he goes into these fugue states where he doesn't have any idea what happened. He has no sense of time, like how much time has passed, and he'll awaken at different places, as well as having multiple personalities. He has this alter ego throughout the episode that, is obviously the Moon Knight, and it's voiced by F. Murray Abraham, the famous actor. F. Murray Abraham provides the voice of Mark Spector. So yeah, we get introduced to Oscar Isaac's character, obviously, but the first character that we see on the screen is the villain, played by Ethan Hawke. A different role for him this time. He's playing this kind of cult leader, it looks like, and we get an interesting introduction to his character and kind of how he operates and thinks. We see this scene where he crushes up some glass, performs this like sort of ritual, and then he puts the glass in these sandals that he puts on and sort of steps on them, and has this tattoo with it's kind of like the scale of justice. And when he's on screen and he meets these people, he grabs their hand and the scale sort of moving. The tattoo of the scale is moving on his arm. So basically this villain, he doesn't consider himself a villain, like we've seen in other, Marvel shows and movies. This is a villain who doesn't see himself as doing bad, but he is indeed the villain, at least so far in this opening episode. And he does come in contact with old Stephen Grant.
Yeah, Stephen Grant basically embarks on this adventure and trying to track down this golden scarab, I think you call it, or scarab. I don't know how you pronounce it, but from Arthur, and that's what introduces Ethan Hawke's character. By the way, it's probably the best part of the episode. You could totally tell Ethan Hawke is having a blast with this, playing a bad guy and, in a superhero TV show, something different for him and, out of his normal roles. But I thought he did a really great job with, Oscar Isaac's character coming across him, setting up some really great scenes, not so great CGI, a few scenes, but really the introduction of these two characters, and as you were saying, his alter ego. But Arthur Harrow is working under the Egyptian goddess Ammit. I think it's how I'm going to butcher all these Egyptian names. I'm like King Tut, that's all I know, but the goddess, and dishing out some punishments essentially, and it really sets up a lot of tension with these characters. And Oscar Isaac transforming into the character, you'd see in the comic books.
Some pretty cool sequences where Oscar Isaac's going through this, dissociative personality disorder, and kind of, he realizes he's kind of going crazy in the moment, and he's he's hearing voices and he's seeing other images of, himself in the mirror, but it's a different, it's not his same personality that he's used to. So he's dealing with all these issues. And like you mentioned with that gold, whatever it is, medallion that, Ethan Hawke's character is also after, it's causing him to, for whatever reason, he doesn't know it yet. He has to hold on to that and he can't really let it go. The Moon Knight wants to hold on to that artifact for some reason, which we don't know completely yet, but it obviously has deep meaning to the Moon Knight. And by the end of the episode, we're finally introduced to the Moon Knight. We get to see him like in the full costume and the getup, the kind of mummy, Egyptian mummy wrap and the costume, which looks really badass. It's really very cool scene at the end there when he first, we first see the Moon Knight in all his glory in that like bathroom scene where he gets into a fight, takes out these guys that are coming after him, and was really cool. Overall, I really had a good time with this episode. There's a lot of, details and names and stuff that I'm still not used to. I can remember Stephen Grant and Mark Spector. Other than that, I still don't even know Ethan Hawke's villain's name. Arthur, I think his name is, you said.
Arthur, yep.
But as the series goes on, we're going to learn more and more. And hopefully by the end, we'll have the whole mythology down and get to see this character go on and more stuff. But yeah, I can't wait to see where this story goes and how he deals with these multiple personalities and how time passes and he gets into all these fights and all this crazy stuff happens. And then he'll wake up somewhere and have like no idea what just happened. So that's obviously going to play into the other characters that he meets. There's, there's a love interest in here. And there's several other characters that were introduced to briefly, but overall I had a really good time with this episode. It's very intriguing. It was directed by Mohammed Diab, who also, he's obviously familiar with the Egyptian, cinema. He's made a couple other movies, and he's obviously very familiar with this, the Egyptian culture. And there's going to be a lot of that we're going to learn about as the series goes on. I had a great time with this. Oscar Isaac's voice work, the accent definitely didn't sound right to me, but hey, it's fine. It doesn't ruin it or anything. The CGI is hit or miss in several scenes, but that scene where we finally see the Moon Knight and the costume and everything at the end was awesome. And I can't wait to see where it goes from here. I really loved Ethan Hawke's character too, his villain. You can tell he's chewing up scenery. He's enjoying playing the villain, like you said, this cult leader. Yeah, I had a great time with Moon Knight. It wasn't a home run, but it's a very intriguing start for me. And I have a feeling that it's just going to get better from here. With that being said, Uncle Henry here is going to give Moon Knight, the premiere pilot episode, a 3.5 out of 5 Oscar Isaac hair pieces.
I'd have to agree with you there, mate, on many points you had. I did like how it was flipping back between Steven and Mark. The introduction to Moon Knight, the costume, everything at the very end was really badass, much like Batman. They say this is a Marvel version of Batman, which I can see, but more the Egyptian mythology behind it and everything is really unique. I did like that. I'm not familiar with the source material, didn't read the comics. Like most people probably watching this for the first time, it was a little hard to follow at times, especially with all the names I have to get used to and pronounce properly. That was a little confusing, but you get the basic gist of what they're going for with Oscar Isaac's character, what he's going through, the introduction of the villain, Arthur, played by Ethan Hawke, which was the real MVP in my opinion, and really setting up the rest of the series, the remaining 5 episodes. And hopefully they give us a lot of action, a lot of cool fight scenes, and creatures he's going to come across in the series. The writing was pretty good, the directing was good, cinematography was good, CGI was spotty, it's good, hit or miss throughout the episode. And really the only complaints I had about the first episode of Moon Knight was definitely Oscar Isaac's British accent that didn't work for me at all, and some of the
hey mate,
yeah, hey lads, and some of the CGI, but hopefully they fix some of those problems in the remaining episodes. So that being said, I'll give the first episode of Moon Knight a 3.5 out of 5 Ethan Hawke hair pieces. I want to hear from you, Wild Rascals. What did you like about the episode? What didn't you like? What's your favorite comic? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe.
Well, it's a full moon out. We better get ready because Uncle Steven's going to come over here pretty soon, and we better be ready for that wild rascal. He's going to kick some ass.
Oh!
Oh, and I'm going to turn into a werewolf.
Check out our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news, and reviews. Also, stay tuned to our YouTube channel right here. We got a bunch of videos coming out. Me and this guy, a few of the fellas, talked about the brand new T. West film, X, horror flick that we had a great time with, coming out in our channel probably this weekend. Some points, more podcasts, interviews, and reviews coming soon.
Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight for the review of Moon Knight, the first episode. We will be back at the end of the series here to wrap up the whole thing after we watch the whole Moon Knight series, all 6 episodes. We'll be back to talk about it and go more in depth and hopefully know all the character names and do a little deeper dive into it, since this was just the introduction into the character. So until the next Cinephellas TV review, I'm Uncle Henry, and that's my good mate,
Logan Isaac.
We're headed up to the pyramids. Cheers.